Life and More Plus. Today, we'll be diving deep into the stories that thrill, that inspire, and also scare us. All those people who are paranormal enthusiasts would be very happy today because we have with us Jay Alani, the acclaimed paranormal investigator. Jay has come out with a book, The Haunted Doorway, The Stories of a Paranormal Investigator. The book, which he and Neil De Silva, both of them have brought the book together. And from haunted locations to unexplainable encounters, Jay will tell us what paranormal activity is all about, while Neil will tell us how the book came about.
Right.
So,
Thanks,
welcome, Jay, and welcome, Neil.
thanks,
Yes,
Rajkumari, for having us on the show.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
thank
my
you. Thank you,
pleasure.
Rashkumari. Thank you for such a lovely invitation. Looking forward for this discussion. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I'll begin with you, Jay. Tell me what drew you to the paranormal?
Oh,
When was it?
well, I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
What drew you to paranormal, and when did it happen? Like, how
Oh,
old were you?
well, the love for the ghosts and the darkness is like really old. The
Mhm.
inception comes right from the childhood. But I would not say that there's something that has dark happened to me. I was always curious about, when we used to hear the stories of nannies and dadis, of ghosts and demons and witches. So there was a curiosity in my mind that would these things are real? How does it happen? Is it happen or not? How many stories are true? How does it feels to be inside a haunted location? So yeah, it was a curiosity that killed the cat, and it's been long. I believe just immediately after college, which was around 2010, 11. So it's been around 14, 15 years that I have been trying to find a good ghost for me.
Mhm. How? What was the first experience like? What was the time that you decided that now I want to do this? Like whole
Back
of
in
my life.
2000, back in 2018, this was the
Hmm.
time when I decided that I want to enter in this full time. And
Hmm.
everybody goes through a phase where they go through kind of identity crisis, that what they need, what they really want to do.
Hmm.
All right, we have done our schooling, we are done with the college, we are on a good high paying job, we are doing all this thing together. But what is that one thing that you really like? And I was someone who spoke to himself many a times, and I decided that no, this is something that I really want to pursue uh, as a full time career. I would see that there is any commercial viability, money earnings, and all that kind of stuff. I'll see to it that to later stage. But yes, this is what I really want to do. So back in 2018, it was I got into this paranormal investigations completely and full time, and since
Hmm.
now I've been doing this.
So, which was your like first case, and
Ah, that's
how did the case come to you?
well. First case, I would very. It's very hard to remember because of course you go through a
Hmm.
lot. But yes, initial days was something I was really focused on investigating the locations, not the people.
Okay.
Not the people's cases. I was more focused on locations, and I was trying to figure out more into the locations area rather than getting into people's cases and all that. But slowly when you are out on the field and you are looking at all these bizarre things happening, you know that more than the locations, people are the one who are more affected. So that's how I started taking personal cases as well. Now I don't. It's very rare that
You don't
for
take
me
personal
that
cases.
not no, starting from 2026, I do not take
Okay.
personal cases. But until something really rarely knocks my window,
Hmm.
that this is something that I really want to take up. But yeah, I mean, this has been a long time, and mostly I started
Hmm.
with locations, and currently also I'm more focused on location based cases rather than going on the personal cases.
So, like, you were in Delhi. So you began, I suppose you began with Delhi.
No, I interestingly I began with Patna. That is where my hometown is.
Okay. Okay.
So initial, what happens to a cricketer? No, that once they starts to pick up a bat, they go to the nearest ground.
Hmm.
They directly don't go to the arena itself. So that's what I
Hmm.
did. I just picked up my bat and went to the nearest
Hmm.
grounds possible, and then
Hmm.
slowly I barged into many cities, countries, areas.
Hmm.
But in initial days
Okay.
was Patna. Yes,
Okay. And what about Delhi? Since you're based in Delhi now, can you tell? Acha, first of all, but tell me Patna. Patna, mein are there many haunted places?
there are not many haunted places, but there are many interesting stories about the places for sure.
Okay.
Uh, like
So
there
how do
are.
you know that? No, one second. How do you know that it's a fictional story, or it is actually something that happened?
Well, that's a very interesting thing because in paranormal, there's you cannot differentiate between is it something really happened or it was a story because there are no proven evidences waiting for you anywhere. You only have
Okay.
to believe what people are talking about. You only have to believe what
Okay.
local community, local stories, local mythology, local stories, folklores, what's
Hmm.
there in the discussions. So
Hmm.
you have to primarily believe on that and move accordingly. So similarly in Patna, there are many stories nearby
Hmm.
Patna as well about pandubas, about witches, about different kind of ghosts. So I started with that as far as Delhi is concerned. So Delhi is my base because that is where I have spent most of the time of my life. I've done my college
Hmm.
from Delhi. I have my good friend circle from Delhi. So that is where after 2018 I decided to I go back to Delhi and I'll stay there.
Hmm.
Um, so in this meanwhile, so far though it has been a lot of journeys together to many locations, many countries and all together. But
Hmm.
yeah, Patna has some good stuff.
So tell me about Delhi.
Delhi, I have knocked every location,
Hmm.
um, whether it's Malcha Mahal or Agrasen Ki Bauli or
Did
Sanjay
you
One.
experience something?
Nothing. I did not.
Nothing.
No, I did not. So I am a kind of investigator who tries to believe on rationality first, tries to look for
Hmm.
logical solutions and answers to one particular case. I try to initiate my investigation with that mindset.
Hmm.
I'm mostly on the side of debunking. So I try to first debunk the case to to the
Hmm.
best of my opportunity or best of my potential. I look at the paranormal side only if I'm not getting an answer.
So are there any cases where you didn't get an answer?
There are a handful of them. There are surely
Hmm.
a few of them, and that is
Hmm.
where my good content comes from. My books,
Yeah.
or my podcast, or I'm venturing into horror films as well. So
Mhm.
those are preciously and saved cases that maybe comes to the world in a later time
Okay.
with different media medium
So
possible.
okay. Okay. So Delhi में see that ITO road uh, जहाँ पर विकास मीनार है and the other side police headquarters
Yeah.
उसका जो रेड लाइट है वहां पर that I've heard is quite infamous for like people have spotted रात को भूतनी there. Have you investigated that?
No, I have heard about this case, and I try
हाँ.
to gather some good resources that substantially tries to speak with what media articles are placing. But I did not come across any person who can substantially come and talk about that I had an encounter. All whatever I have read on the news medias and articles. Apart from that, like you are saying that people have gone through encounters. So in my investigation, I haven't found a person, not even a single person, who can come to me and say that I have seen. Yeah, you are maybe probably the first one. So that I have seen
I'm the
something.
I'm the first person who's telling you, because one time we were returning at like I was with Hindustan Times at that time, and we were coming home after the night shift. It was around, I think, 1:30 time at night, 1:30 a.m. So our driver almost banged into the central verge because he said he saw a woman there, and all of us like shouted ki kahan ja rahe ho karke. He said there's a lady there. We said there's no lady there. He said nay, there she was, but thankfully he put on the brakes and we didn't. But that was my encounter. That's why I was interested in asking you about ITO
So
role.
I'm sure. But like I said, that being a paranormal, when you are young and you are like initially entering into this career, that's a different story.
Mm,
But now we are very careful about taking cases because
mm,
a paranormal investigation case takes a lot. You cannot just pick up your camera and randomly walks to a location. You have to
mm.
gather all sorts of permissions. You have to, especially in a city like Delhi, where every inch
Okay.
is marked by police and it is controlled under the law. Very highly sensitive city. We have to gather all sorts of permissions. We have to look after all sorts of possibilities. There's traffic. There's a
Mm,
lot more. So unfortunately, this case has not been very strong for me that I should do all these kinds of efforts
okay. Mm-hmm.
to gather some sort of resources. Having said that, I have tried to investigate to all possible places. Like I mentioned, Agrasevan ki Bauli, it is Malcha Mahal, it is Sanjay One, it is where we had substantial material that speaks for the case. And
Mm,
anyway, as far as ITO is concerned, it's one of the most busiest area in the whole.
mm.
Then, so I understand
You
that.
must you, you must go there after like 12 o'clock in the night, midnight.
Oh, definitely,
Maybe you'll get
definitely. I
something.
definitely.
Maybe you'll get something. अच्छा, what about the old I think Rajnivas, उसमें भी उनका भी एक story है. Uh,
नहीं नहीं, पर उसमें जा नहीं सकते ना. इट्स अ गवर्नमेंट प्रॉपर्टी
okay.
और लोग वहां रहते
They
हैं.
don't allow at all.
No. So see what happens that 98 or to 99% of the haunted locations that gets published in the media, they are only haunted in the publishing model itself.
Okay.
Um, the real locations are not, so you cannot just walk into, people ask me about Savoy
Hmm.
Hotel in Masuri, or
Hmm.
they ask me about Rajnivas, or they ask me about Hari Palace in Kota. So all these
Hmm.
places are 5 to 7 star properties where a lot of people are staying. They belong to trust governments and all that. For example, Savoy Masuri, it's a 5 star
Hmm.
Taj Palace hotel. I cannot just walk into it and say that,
Achho.
oh,
Hmm.
I have heard a story about it. And they also don't allow permissions. What
Hmm.
happens that as a paranormal investigator, we have to be very responsible about entering into a location
Hmm.
beforehand. Make sure that you are gathering all the permission, writing to the concerned authorities, letting the police know that we are doing such activity. If we
Hmm.
gather all that kind of permissions at once, only then we try to enter into a case.
Hmm. So you have a team with you,
I
and
do have a team, yes.
okay, and do you use the modern scientific
No,
equipment?
no,
No.
no, no.
So
Not
how's
the
the
ones,
process like?
not the ones that says that we can connect to ghosts or talk to
Hmm.
ghosts. Because I do not really
Hmm.
believe on any such machine, although people do. But I am not
Hmm.
someone who believes on that machines. Well, the process is very simple. Like I said in the
Hmm.
beginning, that we try to find logic at the first place. So there's a lot
Hmm.
goes. There are back history checkings, story checkings, atmospheric pressures, wildlife, temperature shifts, and all that kind of stuff. Only it is very rare not to find a solution. The
Hmm.
origin of these
Okay.
stories, but we mostly do that.
So most of the time you are debunking the paranormal.
Most of the times, yes.
So now we come to the book.
Yeah.
You've been like into the paranormal since 2018. So the book carries all your work from that time onwards. And like you must have come across many locations during this 7 year period, or maybe Neil was telling me it took 2 years, so maybe 5 year period. So how did you pick and choose the stories? Neil, was it a joint decision between you and Jay, or
So
Jay told
this
you
is this is our
these
second book
stories?
together. This is our second book. We have written a book
Mm-hmm.
before also in 2019, and that book was called
Mm-hmm.
Haunted. So what we did was
That
uh,
was called?
Haunted.
Okay.
Haunted. ठीक है. So
Okay.
Jay and I met through a common friend, as he has said, who is also our literary agent. And I
Mm-hmm.
started talking to Jay. We had all these discussions. I was already writing horror. I had a lot of books
Mm-hmm.
out at that time, and Jay was already an established paranormal investigator. So we decided to
Mm-hmm.
collaborate and make a book together. अब the question was कि ये book कैसा करना है, because if you see the
Mm-hmm.
paranormal market is saturated. There are lots of material and lot of half-baked truths going on everywhere on Google. If you just search, you'll find out. But the thing is, we wanted to make something which was credible and which would also interest paranormal people to actually look at it and understand the whole scenario in a different way. So we sat down and we started brainstorming. So in the first book that we wrote, we decided on talking about the haunted locations that Jay has gone to.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jay had gone to more than 200 locations even that time. So we had to sit
Mm-hmm.
and choose locations which were also popular and also interesting. Plus, Jay had found out something which was really unique in those places. So that was book number
Mm-hmm.
one. Anyway, now this
Mm-hmm.
book, in Haunted Doorway, in this book, in fact, I'll show the cover I've got right here in front of me. So in this book,
Mm-hmm.
we decided to focus more on people cases.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was haunted location. So here we took the cases of people who
Mm-hmm.
approached Jay. That time he had a paranormal helpline and approached Jay with all these bizarre things that were happening in their lives. Like there are some
Mm-hmm.
very interesting cases. I'll talk to you about it later. So we
Mm-hmm.
decided to take 10 of those, which were
Okay.
on the face of it, they started very, very scary. Like there was something really odd happening to people. Like there was a boy who used to
Mm-hmm.
say that, and a female comes to me in my dreams every night and she seduces me. And that boy's entire life was then centered around that. He was a smart boy, very brilliant in his studies and all. He gave up everything and he felt
Okay.
that that woman is really like very real, right? And his whole life went topsy turvy, and that was the boy who came to Jay, and then how Jay found out who was his actual woman of his dreams, and the truth
Mm-hmm.
is shocking. So that was one element that made us decide that ठीक है ये story हम लोग को ये book में डालनी है, because what we wanted is this should not be just a sensational case. उसमें क्या मजा है,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sensational cases तो बहुत है. आप रेडिट पे जाओगे
Mm-hmm.
आपको बहुत मिलेंगे, लेकिन द थिंग इज उसका आंसर क्या है, उसका तोड़ क्या निकला. Was the case solved? Was that person satisfied with what you told him? Right? उसको
Mm-hmm.
लगा कि उसके जिंदगी में हॉन्टिंग हो रहा है. Was that resolved? That was the factor based on which Jay and I brainstormed and selected कि ये 10 cases हम लोग को लेने हैं. And believe me, हमारे पास बहुत सारे cases थे. We had more than 60 cases अपने
Mm-hmm.
list में. But ये 10 को हमने इसलिए choose किया because these are very general kind of situations. Because हम
Mm-hmm.
जय को भी मुझे भी जो ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं डीएम पे और सब कि ना हमारे घर में ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है. So we took something that was common to all, but the answer
Mm-hmm.
of it was something that will help everybody, like something
Mm-hmm.
really unique. So that is the basis
Mm-hmm.
of our book, The Haunted Doorway. इसलिए उसका नाम भी हम लोगों ने डोरवे रखा है क्योंकि because once you open the
Mm-hmm.
haunted world, the paranormal world, फिर तो उसके अंदर आप
Mm-hmm.
जाओगे, you're going to find out a lot of things. So that is
So I
all the.
suspect I I suspect that this boy's case is more of a mental health issue.
Uh, it was a see. We won't give a direct answer right now because what will happen is that will
Mm.
spoil the way that you will approach the
The
case.
story. Okay.
The thing is, yes, there are certain cases, and there's a lot of research into this.
Mm-hmm.
Scientific research बहुत हुआ है कि why are people after all haunted. अभी for example sleep paralysis ले लो. तो why does that happen?
Hmm.
There's a proper medical explanation to that जो लोगों को पता नहीं होता.
Hmm.
And then people tell कि
Hmm.
हमारे सोते हुए भूत आता है, जकड़ लेता है, and we
Hmm.
cannot move our
Hmm.
fingers, our legs, our toes, ये ना ये सब होता है. तो people
Hmm.
believe कि this is
Hmm.
a bhutiya thing, right? Then there are things
Hmm.
like near death experiences हो या out of body experience हो. Uh, एक एक और फैंटास्टिक केस वो थी जब वन मैन ही
Hmm.
बिलीव्ड दैट वाज एन अवतार ऑफ गॉड. तो ये भी एक पैरानॉर्मल केस है बुक में. वो अब खुद को
Hmm.
भगवान मानने लगा. सो दैट वाज आल्सो अ साइंटिफिक थिंग. तो उसका ऑल दीज
Hmm.
रीजंस मिक्स एंड समटाइम्स एज जय हैज आल्सो सेड जस्ट नाउ व्हेन ही वाज स्पीकिंग,
Hmm.
वी डोंट हैव
Hmm.
आंसर्स. Sometimes,
Hmm.
in 1 out of 10 cases, we don't have an answer. तो तब we say कि
So
this is something supernatural. ठीक?
it's
It's a
this.
mix. Some cases are also funny. I will tell you that also. Some cases are
Hmm.
also funny. When you
Hmm.
find out the truth, you will laugh at it. कि ऐसा था. So that case is
Hmm.
also there. Some are bizarre, some are scary, and some are after all with a very logical explanation. And some of them are उसका आंसर नहीं है. So it's a mix.
Unexplainable.
Yeah.
So that means, however much you debunk paranormal exists.
To a certain percent, yes. See, I think what my belief is that we don't really
Hmm.
know the entirety of the universe. अभी
Yeah,
यूनिवर्स इतना बड़ा है, हमें हाउ कैन
that's
वी
true.
क्लेम कि मतलब ये रियल है और ये रियल नहीं है या ये नहीं होता है.
Hmm.
अब 100 साल पहले हम
Hmm.
लोग कहते थे कि आदमी उड़ भी नहीं सकता. राइट नाउ वी आर फ्लाइंग. सो देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स
Hmm.
दैट हैपन. थिंग्स चेंज. नाउ देयर इज एआई.
Hmm.
मींस वी हैव अ
Hmm.
मशीन फॉर अस जो कि
Hmm.
इनकंसीवेबल था. हम लोग 10 साल पहले ये सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि ये हो सकता है. सो आई एम
Hmm.
आई एम ऑल्सो अ साइंटिफिक पर्सन. आई एम अ पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट इन ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री. तो मेरा पूरा लाइफ जो है
Okay.
वो फॉर्मूला में और थियोरीज में निकला है. सो आई नीड प्रूफ फॉर
Okay.
एवरीथिंग. बट डिस्पाइट
Hmm.
दैट आई से दैट देयर आर सर्टेन केसेस विच वी कैन नॉट
Hmm.
एक्सप्लेन. एंड उसका रीजन ये है कि वी डोंट नो
Hmm.
एवरीथिंग दैट इज देयर इन द यूनिवर्स. तो ये जो अननोन है ना,
Hmm.
unknown doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Unknown
Hmm.
only means that because of our human mind limitations, we are not able to maybe discover it
Hmm.
or see it yet. Yet is an
Hmm.
important word.
Hmm.
So आज जो हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि जो नहीं एग्जिस्ट होता है, बहुत सारे लोग ये बोलते हैं कि हम भूतों में विश्वास नहीं करते हैं. That is because
Hmm.
maybe we have not gone to that side yet. When
Come
we do,
across.
right, aliens का भी यही बात होता है, correct? So we have all
Hmm.
these things together. So I believe कि
Hmm.
maybe it exists, maybe we have not
Hmm.
encountered it yet.
Hmm. So how do you, Jay, draw a line between a paranormal activity and a psychological issue?
देखिए, ये एकदम सिंपल है. इट्स नॉट
Hmm.
अ रॉकेट साइंस. लाइक आई टोल्ड यू इन द
Hmm.
बिगिनिंग कि मैं
Hmm.
कोशिश करता हूँ सबसे पहले लॉजिकल अप्रोच ढूंढने
Hmm.
की. अब उसमें
Hmm.
उस प्रोसेस में मुझे कितना भी टाइम लगे, रिसोर्सेज लगे, वॉट एवर. एंड अगर मुझे वो लॉजिकल केस रीजनिंग मिल गई, साइंटिफिक रीजनिंग
Hmm.
मिल गई, साइकोलॉजिकल रीजनिंग मिल गई, सो इट्स वेरी सिंपल दैट इज बिलोंग टू दैट पर्टिकुलर कैटेगरी. और अगर वो मुझे
Hmm.
नहीं मिलती है, only then I try to filter that case that okay, there is something
Hmm.
unexplained. You know,
Okay.
but first approach is always that I approach a case with a rational mindset.
Okay.
Mostly
Okay.
जवाब मिल ही
And
जाता है.
in okay. And in this book, how many cases are that are written about are rational and how many are unexplained?
No, in this book we have, like I said, that our last book was about haunted locations, and in this book we
Hmm.
have tried to come across like really the bizarre cases जिनका end आप शायद guess नहीं कर सकते हैं.
पर है उनका end.
But definitely है, definitely है.
Okay. Okay. और आपकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में फ्रॉम 2018 टिल नाउ ऐसे कितने केसेस हैं जो अनएक्सप्लेन्ड रहे हैं?
नहीं, ये काउंट करना थोड़ा अभी मेरे लिए मुश्किल है बिकॉज
नहीं,
आई आई
परसेंटेज मे बी
वन
लाइक
वन
आउट
और
ऑफ
टू
10.
वन और टू.
Okay. Rest everything is like there is a logic
रेशियो,
and a reason
या
behind it.
रेशियो इज रियली लो. यस.
Okay, okay. And do you think that you were talking about, Neil was talking about artificial intelligence just a few minutes back. Do you think that artificial intelligence or advanced sensors can detect a paranormal activity? No?
अभी नहीं. अगर आप पैरानॉर्मल एक्टिविटी को डिटेक्ट कर रहे हैं किसी भी मशीन से,
Hmm.
किसी भी एआई से, किसी भी टूल से, किसी भी साइंटिफिक चीज से, तो इसका मतलब ये है
Hmm.
कि आप दुनिया में सुपर नेचुरल को ढूंढ चुके हैं, विच ऑल्सो मीन्स कि आप भगवान को भी ढूंढ चुके हैं, क्योंकि जब आपने उनको डिटेक्ट कर लिया तो आप भगवान को भी डिटेक्ट कर लेंगे। तो जब आपने भगवान और भूत को डिटेक्ट कर ही लिया है तो हम सबकी प्रॉब्लम्स का सोल्यूशन हो गया। देन फेज 1 में हम उनको डिटेक्ट करेंगे, फेज 2 में हम उनकी लोकेशन जानेंगे, फेज 3 में हम उनके पास जाएंगे। नहीं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि अभी फिलहाल, जहां तक मेरी नॉलेज है, एंड बिलीव मी आई स्पीक टू अ लॉट ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट्स अराउंड द ग्लोब, मुझे नहीं लगता
Hmm.
कि अभी कोई भी एक ऐसी मशीन तैयार हुई है, हो रही है, अंडर डेवलपमेंट है, जो आपको सुपर नेचुरल से कनेक्ट या उनके रियलिटी को पहचानने में मदद करे अभी फिलहाल एज वी स्पीक। आई डोंट नो कि 20 साल बाद
Hmm.
क्या होगा या 30 साल बाद क्या होगा, लेकिन अभी तो फिलहाल ऐसा
Okay.
नहीं है।
Okay. There's a, I've heard about it. There's a camera called as Cle Clarion camera or something. You must be knowing. उसमें बोलते हैं
I,
उससे आप नहीं
मेरी
क्लेरियन कैमरा समथिंग they can like take out the photograph of a like suppose there is an entity नहीं
No, not heard of
नहीं,
it.
not a bad
Even
I
I have.
haven't heard of it, but I understand the context what you are saying. There
hmm.
are many such gadgets, tools, equipments out there in the market,
Hmm.
um, but I don't think they work
Okay.
as far as
Okay.
collecting the evidences are concerned.
Hmm. So I'll come back to you as a paranormal investigator. So like you have been across the world. How big is this field? Are there many people involved in this, or relatively it's a
As far
small
as
field?
India is concerned, अब तो काफी ज्यादा लोग आ गए हैं इसमें. There are a
Hmm.
couple of them whom I know personally. For example, Sarbajit and Pooja.
Hmm.
And there's another guy who's doing good from the northeast. So there are many people. और विदेशों में तो है ही है, definitely. But personally, I don't see that paranormal investigators have a very strong hold into the culture as of now in India. We exist,
Okay.
definitely we exist, but we are not yet
Hmm.
part of the culture or the pop culture. I
It's
think it
more
will take some time to.
yeah, it's like a
Hmm.
hobby. Maybe it's just a kind of an enthusiasm.
Yeah,
People are
yeah.
curious. एक standard नहीं बना है अभी तक.
There's
Hmm.
no uniformity when it comes to this profession as of now.
Hmm. But can there be a uniformity? There can't be, I think, because I don't know.
No, yeah, I
Can
don't
there
think
be
so.
a uniformity in this field?
In my
No.
experience also, I deal with two paranormal investigators. Both of them are extremely famous and both of them are doing a wonderful job. एक तो जय हमारे सामने है आज, and then there's
Hmm.
सरबजीत जिसके साथ भी मैं दो बुक लिख चुका हूँ.
Hmm.
तो the
Hmm.
fascinating part of this is कि when you're writing about paranormal science, even the
Hmm.
paranormal investigators have different ideologies, different
Yeah.
ways to
Hmm.
approach, but they are trying to find the same truth. The truth वही है कि whether there is any existence of paranormal science or not, and how do we find it one day if we want to.
Hmm.
वो है, लेकिन the way to go to it is different. It is just like religion. भगवान एक ही है लेकिन उनके पास जाने का रास्ता अलग अलग लोग अपनाते हैं.
Hmm.
So it is the
And
same
and
way. What makes it fascinating.
okay, and is the outcome same or outcome different?
The outcome varies क्योंकि अभी लोग वहां
Hmm.
तक पहुंचे नहीं है ना. अगर पहुंचेंगे तो हम बता सकते हैं. अभी तो सिर्फ लोगों ने रास्ता पकड़ा है कि दिस इज द वे वी वांट टू गो, दिस इज द वे. नाउ जय इज मूव इनटू द रैशनैलिटी ऑफ इट कि मतलब
Hmm.
डिबंकिंग करना है. सम
Hmm.
पीपल आर यूजिंग गैजेट्स आल्सो एज यू से, है ना.
Hmm.
वो भी होता है तरीका. और जितने भी हम यूट्यूब
Hmm.
पे वीडियोस देखते हैं वो तो लोग गैजेट यूज करके भी करते हैं, बिना भी करते हैं, या देवर
वो
पीपल
तो
हु
खैर
अप्रोच आल्सो. So there are different ways. So
hmm.
that's what I'm trying to say.
हाँ, YouTube पे तो आई डोंट वेरी
Sensationalization.
बिलीव इन ऑल दोज बिकॉज वो तो बहुत सारा मतलब
इसीलिए तो हमने बुक लिखी है ना.
बनाया भी होता है ना इट्स नॉट
क्योंकि बुक
ट्रू
में जो कंटेंट है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी क्रेडिबल, वेल रिसर्च्ड और थरो. वैसा ही लिखना पड़ता है। ऑन
Hmm.
यूट्यूब कैन पुट अप एनीथिंग, क्योंकि वो तो ट्रांजिएंट है,
Hmm.
वो आ जाएगा, वायरल होगा, फिर निकल जाएगा। बट वी हैव टू बी
Exactly,
मोर
exactly.
केयरफुल इन आवर अप्रोच व्हेन वी
Uh,
आर डूइंग
uh,
समथिंग लाइक अ बुक।
True. So while you were writing like these stories, uh, what was how much of back and forth was there?
A
He told
lot.
you an incident, you wrote a story, and
No,
then
it was
what
not like.
happened?
सो द
Hmm.
थिंग इज, फर्स्ट वी शॉर्टलिस्टेड कौन सा स्टोरीज हमें लिखना है। जय के पास ऑलरेडी एक लिस्ट
Hmm.
था। वी
Hmm.
शॉर्टलिस्ट एंड आवर पब्लिशर्स हार्पर कॉलिंस, दे आल्सो केम टू नो द
Hmm.
लिस्ट पहले से कि दीज आर द स्टोरीज दैट वी
Hmm.
आर गोइंग टू टैकल। फिर उसके बाद आई आस्क्ड जय कि आप, बिकॉज वी आर लिविंग इन डिफरेंट सिटीज, तो फिजिकल मीटिंग वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट। तो बट आई टोल्ड जय,
Hmm.
आपकी पॉडकास्ट की सुरीली आवाज में आप रिकॉर्ड करो द होल केस विद ऑल द डिटेल्स। मैंने इनफैक्ट आई इंसिस्टेड दैट आप
Hmm.
जितने डिटेल्स दोगे ना, लोगों के नाम, उनके शर्ट का कलर, सब कुछ दे दो, सो दैट आई कैन राइट अ
Hmm.
मोर रियलिस्टिक स्टोरी। एंड इट डिड अ फाइन जॉब, एब्सोल्युटली ब्रिलियंट। और आई यूज्ड टू
Hmm.
सिट इन माय रूम, लाइट बंद करके मैं सुनता था वो, मीन्स एसिमुलेट द होल
Hmm.
केस विद इन मी। उसके बाद आया रिसर्च,
Hmm.
क्योंकि इन मेनी ऑफ दीज केसेस देयर आर सर्टेन टर्म्स, जो टर्म्स मतलब
Hmm.
मेरे लिए भी न्यू थे, बिकॉज देयर इज वन टर्म लाइक
Okay.
गोएनोपी है, या पैराइडोलिया है, यू नो दीज आर ऑल न्यू टर्म्स, दे आर एक्सप्लेन्ड इन द बुक के, मतलब दीज आर पैरानॉर्मल फिनोमिना जो कि ये बुक में है। तो
Okay.
मुझे भी थोड़ा रिसर्च करना पड़ा, क्रॉस चेक करना पड़ा कि वेदर दीज टर्म्स एक्चुअली आर एग्जिस्टिंग और नॉट, एंड येस इट वाज अ लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस। फिर उसके बाद
Hmm.
राइटिंग इट इन स्टोरी फॉर्म, तो स्टोरी फॉर्म में, क्योंकि
Hmm.
वो थोड़ा, यू नो, यू नीड टू राइट इट इंटरेस्टिंगली ऑल्सो। वी डिड नॉट वांट टू
Hmm.
गिव अ डॉक्यूमेंट्री फील। वो लिखने के बाद
Hmm.
जय को बताना कि ये स्टोरी है, अभी आप बताओ। देन जय यूज्ड टू टेल मी कि यहाँ आप थोड़ा ट्वीक कर दो, यहाँ ट्वीक कर दो, ये मेरे आइडियोलॉजी से मैच नहीं करता, तो ये सेंटेंसेस चेंज कर दो। सो दैट हैपेंड, वी हैड 2 3 ड्राफ्ट्स एंड देन इट वेंट टू द
Hmm.
पब्लिशर।
So in each of the stories, how much is reality and how much is the
Mostly it is
story?
what Jay experienced. I tried to
Hmm.
not change stuff because फिर क्या होता है
Okay.
ना, then it is no longer a
His
reality
thing.
based book. तो मैंने इसको सेंसेशनलाइज नहीं किया है एट ऑल, बट
Hmm.
आई हैव
Hmm.
ट्राइड टू मेक इट इंटरेस्टिंग। अभी यू कैन डू
Hmm.
दिस, अभी हम जो ये पॉडकास्ट पे भी डिस्कशन
I
कर रहे हैं।
think, sorry to interrupt. I think what we are trying to portray, that all the anecdotes related to a case, that is not being touched. It is presented as
Okay.
it is. But when it comes to
Okay.
the name, places, other story
That is
formations, because
changed.
of course a
That is
story a story has to be in a way that people should read in a manner. That's the phase one of the story, phase two, phase three, phase four, and that's how it leads to a
Hmm.
climax. Yes, that is
Hmm.
being written because that's what Neil does. He does a great job when it comes to uniforming a story. So
Hmm.
it's very simple that he hasn't changed the anecdotes of the cases, like the practical solutions or the terms or the technicalities involved. But yes, we have tried to give it a story shape and form so that it can be presented in
Hmm.
that way.
Hmm. And keeping their identity also hidden,
absolutely,
not to
Of
be.
course,
हाँ,
of
बिकॉज दिस इज
course.
पैरानॉर्मल, यू कैन नॉट जस्ट, वो तो पहले
Hmm.
से डिस्क्लेमर है, फर्स्ट पेज पे ही आपको दिख जाएगा।
Yeah. So which story like in this book is for you personally? I'm asking both of you, each of you, was like frightening or maybe unforgettable?
जय।
For me, yeah, for me, the most special. I would not say most special because every case takes the same effort. It takes the same kind of pressures, points, time, consumptions, money. Everything it's uniformly the same. Um, so I would not say that I'll pick one, but yes, from the lens of a paranormal investigator, that the how a story can impact a whole society and a whole social psychology. From that angle, if I have to say, then I would say that the story where a person is trying to showcase himself as a god, because of whatever reason that you will read in the book.
Mm,
But I think that kind of cases uh, affects the society on a larger level rather than
mm,
someone personally is being going through something. So
mm,
for me, if it's that's one special, I would not say special, but it's a different case that I came across.
mm. Story like I suppose what I can say I can reframe your answer like this is the one which impacted you the most.
On a personal level, yes.
Yeah. And what about you, Neil?
I will tell from a strictly horror reader's perspective. Matlab, if you want
Hmm.
to have those kind of horror thrills or actually want to get scared. So the story was for me the one that is set in the boys' hostel, the Faridabad school one, where they
Okay.
believed
Okay.
that one a woman's spirit was haunting the hostel and all the boys were
Hmm.
terrified. It's a real case again, like it's a real cases here.
Hmm.
Not only that, even the
Hmm.
hostel management was उसको पता नहीं था कि मतलब क्या करना है. Then Jay spent
Hmm.
2 days there and he actually stayed in the hostel, checked out the vicinity, and he found out what it was. It was that is
Hmm.
very hair-raising, very scary to write
Hmm.
also. Yeah.
So, जब आपकी like when you come to a conclusion in a particular investigation and you must be like फरीदाबाद हॉस्टल केस है जो आपने जो वहाँ का एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन होगा बताया उसको और मे बी बच्चों को भी बताया होगा. So, do
हाँ हाँ.
they accept your thing or they continue to believe what they believe?
The chances are, I would say 70-30. 70% they do, 30% they don't.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
these 30% are the people or the cases where people are rigid to what they are believing on. For example, I have
Hmm.
tried to debunk Bhangar many a times to the local vicinity, to
Okay.
the news channels, to the everybody. But people do still believe that Bhangar is haunted, and they want to continue with that story and folklore and whatever because it particularly suits their social psychology. So that is okay.
Hmm. Hmm. So, has there been like any story that astounded you? Not the God thing, but like there is, suppose there is a story which you expected. होता है ना आपका प्री बिलीव कुछ होता है कि ये ऐसा होगा, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, ये ऐसा होगा. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन इट. बट the your investigation gave you a totally different conclusion.
Um, मैं इसका जवाब आपको ऐसे देने की कोशिश करता हूँ. आपको शायद मैं
Hmm.
थोड़ा ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट लगूं. बट
Okay.
इसका असल में जवाब ये है कि
Hmm.
अब मैं केस के पहले 10 या 15 मिनट की कहानी में समझ जाता हूँ कि इसमें क्या तरीका लिया जा सकता है या इसके पीछे क्या होगा. और आई एम
Okay.
नॉट सेइंग दैट्स अ सुपर पावर, बट इट हैज बीन ईयर्स दैट यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग द सेम स्टफ. और दूसरा क्या है
Yes.
ना कि इंडिया में हॉरर स्टोरीज बहुत सारी हो सकती हैं,
Hmm.
लेकिन उसका जो फ्रेम है ना वो 10 15 20 ही है. सारी कहानियां वही 10 15 20 फ्रेम में आकर के फिट हो जाएंगी. तो
Okay.
बिकॉज हम एक स्टोरी रिच कल्चर जरूर है, लेकिन स्टोरी वेरिएशन में बहुत ज्यादा रिचनेस हमारे पास नहीं है. तो
Okay.
जो जस्ट टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, आप अगर बॉलीवुड का भी सिनेमा देखोगे तो आपको पता है 5 6 फॉर्मूला है उनके पास और वो फॉर्मूलाज
Hmm.
चलते रहते हैं, कीप रिपीटिंग. तो
Hmm.
सिमिलरली दिस हैपन विद द स्टोरीज इन आवर रियल लाइफ एज वेल. फ्रेम्स बने
Hmm.
हुए हैं, उस फ्रेम में कैरेक्टर्स चेंज हो जाते हैं, बैकड्रॉप चेंज हो जाता है, अप्रोच
Hmm.
चेंज हो जाता है, लेकिन फ्रेम लगभग सेम ही रहता है. सो अब तो
Hmm.
वो हाल है. लेकिन एज
Hmm.
फार एज द बुक इज कंसर्न, सो इस
Hmm.
किताब में वही 10 कहानियां डाली गई हैं, 10 11 कहानियां डाली
Hmm.
गई हैं जिसने मुझे
Hmm.
पर्सनली शॉक किया. बिकॉज दैट्स द एलिमेंट, दैट्स द यूएसपी ऑफ द बुक, कि भाई
Hmm.
मैं इसमें सिर्फ वही स्टोरीज डालूं जो कि लोग गेस भी ना कर सकें कि इसका एंड क्या होगा.
Hmm.
you know so of course I've made sure that all these stories have given me a personal change, a personal way of approach. नजरिया बदला, देखने का तरीका बदला, नया एक्सपीरियंस आया, रिजल्ट कुछ और हुआ, अनएक्सपेक्टेड हुआ. बिकॉज अगर आप वो यंग लड़के की कहानी पढ़ोगे जो अभी
Hmm.
नील सर बता रहे थे, तो आप देखोगे कि मैंने उस कहानी की शुरुआत में उस लड़के को बहुत ज्यादा एंटरटेन नहीं किया है.
Hmm.
बट धीरे धीरे जब मुझे ये समझ में आने लगा कि नहीं इसमें वाकई कुछ है, तो जब मैं उसमें
Hmm.
घुसा तो मेरे लिए भी चीजें बदलती. एज इन्वेस्टिगेटर हम अगर एक पर्सनल केस लेते हैं तो हम एक पर्सनल जर्नी पर होते हैं उस इंसान के साथ.
Hmm.
तो कई बार हमें वैसे सोचना पड़ता है जैसे वो इंसान सोच रहा है, वैसे खाना पड़ता है जैसे वो खा रहा है, जब वैसे पूरा अप्रोच ही हमारा उनके में ढल करके होता है. सो ऑफ कोर्स आई वुड से दैट all these cases that we have tried to come across in this book, they have impacted and changed and are unexpected results to me on a personal level for sure.
Okay. And has anything been scary? Shocking is fine. You get a completely
नहीं
different
नहीं, ये
outcome.
तो
But
देखिए, अब मेरा मेरा तो करियर ही स्केरी है. स्केरी की बात से अलग है. अगर मैं किसी हॉन्टेड लोकेशन पर रात को 12 बजे 1 बजे जा रहा हूँ और वहां पर चारों तरफ कुछ भी नहीं है, तो वो अपने आप में काफी स्केरी है. आपको कई तरह के डर होते हैं. लेकिन हाँ, अ, जब आप प्रैक्टिस करने लगते हो और एक लेवल पे पहुंच जाते हो, तो आपको पता है कि कैसे एलिमिनेट करना है रिस्क को, फियर को. हाउ डू यू टैकल देम, हाउ डू यू एलिमिनेट देम वन बाय वन. सो यू नो दैट इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ प्रोसेस.
Okay. So while writing the book, Neil, did you any time at any point feel stuck कि अब क्या लिखूं अब मतलब because the stories can be repetitive also,
Yeah,
particularly when it comes like Jay said कि वो 10 frames में आप उनको fit कर सकते हैं. So
हमारे पास भी ये
anytime
प्रॉब्लम,
you
वी हैड दैट. क्योंकि क्या होता है ना, बहुत सारे
हम्म
लोग जो अप्रोच करते हैं जय को, दे आर सिमिलर
हम्म
काइंड ऑफ केसेस कि मतलब यहाँ भूत है,
हम्म
बाथरूम में कुछ गिर गया, रात को हमेशा आवाज आता है, थिंग्स लाइक दैट, सिंपल ऑर्डिनरी थिंग्स.
हम्म
तो वी वांटेड
हम्म
टू यू नो नॉट टेक दैट रेपिटेटिवनेस. मतलब हर केस में कुछ एक नया एंगल हो, या तो थ्रू द इन्वेस्टिगेशन, या तो थ्रू व्हाट
हम्म
वाज द हॉन्टिंग गोइंग ऑन. तो उस तरह से
हम्म
दैट वाज आवर. तो ये जो फिल्टरिंग प्रोसेस था ना, वो ही कम से कम 6 महीने तक चला. टू टेक लाइक,
हम्म
मतलब जो 10 केस हमें लेनी है, तो वी हैव टू बी वेरी सिलेक्टिव. तो इस तरह से वी ट्राई टू नॉट हैव. और यू आस्क्ड मी अबाउट वेदर आई गॉट स्टक और नॉट एनीवेयर. तो स्टक
हम्म
वाज नॉट रियली एन इशू बिकॉज जय हैड गिवन मी वेरी क्लियर ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स. लेकिन कभी कभी
हम्म
ऐसा होता था कि फॉर डिटेलिंग आई नीडेड टू गेट बैक टू हिम. कि मतलब अगर इफ
हम्म
आई फॉर एग्जांपल, जो डॉल हाउस का स्टोरी था, जय यू विल रिमेंबर, पुतुल बारी ना,
Yeah,
द
yeah,
हॉन्टेड डॉल हाउस का एक
yeah.
कलकत्ता स्टोरी है, बहुत बहुत ही अच्छी स्टोरी है वो. सो आई नीडेड टू, आई न्यू अबाउट दिस डॉल हाउस कि मतलब है एक ऐसा जगह कलकत्ता में जहाँ मतलब बहुत सारी डॉल्स रखी हैं एंड दे आर कंसिडर्ड टू बी हॉन्टेड, एंड पीपल विजिट देयर
हम्म
ओनली फॉर द किक्स. तो ऐसे एक जगह
okay
है, बट देन आई हैड नेवर विजिटेड. सो आई हैड टू आस्क जय अ
हम्म
लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कि मतलब वो दिखता कैसा है, क्या उसका. सो ही हैड विजिटेड मेनी टाइम्स, so he definitely knew about it. And it is through his description that I wrote that story. तो ऐसे केसेस हुए हैं, बट अदरवाइज आई डोंट थिंक देयर वाज एनी हैसल. और जो है ना,
I'm
जय और मेरा वेवलेंथ बहुत अच्छा मैच करता है. सो इवन इफ इट
mm,
डजंट टेल मी एवरीथिंग, आई स्टिल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज ट्राइंग टू से.
no, no. That's fine. But I was more asking about the like, there's a writer's block, no?
I
Everybody
have,
faces it.
after writing like
That I'm
20
asking.
books, I think वो writer's block का केस मैं उसके बहुत आगे निकल चुका हूँ. I am right.
Okay.
मैं
Okay.
I cannot afford more than 3 months to write a book. That is my time frame. तो अभी भी एक बुक
Okay.
अभी मई में.
Very rapid writer.
या आई एंड आई लव राइटिंग. तो क्या होता है ना, राइटर्स ब्लॉग
Hmm.
उनको होता है जो मतलब बहुत ही मतलब प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं होते हैं टू राइट. सो
Hmm.
आई फील दैट राइटर्स ब्लॉक इन 9 out of 10 cases, it is
Hmm.
just a mental conditioning. People are not prepared, या people have not been able to manage their time properly, या बस उनको लिखना नहीं
Maybe.
है, तो वो लोग ये सब excuses. राइटर्स ब्लॉक कम से मे बी इन 1 out of 10 cases राइटर्स ब्लॉक जेन्युइन होता है.
Hmm.
तो आजकल ये एक
Hmm.
फैड बन चुका है. एवरी राइटर से अरे मुझे
Hmm.
राइटर्स ब्लॉक हो गया, मैं लिखूं कैसे.
Writer block हो गया. हाँ.
आप अपने आप को डिसिप्लिन रखो. You will be easily
Hmm.
able to write, but you should know what you are writing about and love the craft. So I think
Hmm.
that's the reason. हाँ,
Hmm.
जय का book was
So what's
time, but that was because
hmm.
detailing उस level का था.
Hmm. Hmm. So what's your process of writing? Do you
और
have a dedicated place to write,
yes, it's
dedicated time
I
to write?
dedicated time बदलते रहता है. Now it is like very
Hmm.
late, like 3 बजे से 6 बजे तक, 3 बजे से 5 बजे तक. That is the time I write in the
Morning?
early mornings. Yes, because I wake up at three
Okay.
o'clock and then I
Okay.
go for my running and all. तो उसके बाद घर पे आने
Hmm.
के बाद फिर से मैं लिखता हूँ थोड़ा दोपहर तक. That's it, and the rest of the
Hmm.
day I don't much write. तो maybe चार
Okay.
3-4 घंटे में दिन में लिखता हूँ. That's it. And but
Hmm.
these are very focused hours. So I believe
Hmm.
in क्वालिटी ओवर क्वांटिटी, तो नंबर ऑफ आवर्स डजंट
quantity.
मैटर। एक घंटे में भी आप
Hmm.
बहुत अच्छा अच्छा लिख सकते हो इफ यू आर really good
Hmm.
at it, or
Hmm.
if you know the craft. So that's what I believe in, and that's it. And
Hmm.
any story starts with me ना, क्या होता है उसका एक कॉन्सेप्ट लाइन होता है, एक लॉग लाइन होता है।
Hmm.
तो अगर वो
Hmm.
एक आइडिया जो है ना, वो अगर दिल
Hmm.
में बैठ गया कि मतलब बस इस पर कुछ लिखना है ही, इट शुड बी सो स्ट्रांग कि मतलब इट
Hmm.
मोटिवेट्स यू टू राइट। सो दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंड। जय भी व्हेन ही केम टू मी फॉर
Hmm.
द फर्स्ट टाइम विद द फर्स्ट बुक
Hmm.
बात किया था,
Hmm.
इट वाज जस्ट अ कॉन्सेप्ट कि हम लोग को ऐसा कुछ लिखना है, बस वो कॉन्सेप्ट ही बैठ गया दिमाग में और वो बुक हो गया। तो वो
Hmm.
इम्पोर्टेंट है, दैट इनिशियल स्पार्क वो स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए।
Hmm. So, Jay, how many haunted locations in India and abroad have you been to? Can you number
Very tough, but I think more than 500, I believe.
across world?
Yeah.
Okay, and in India?
I haven't separated a list that this belongs to India,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I think that I have been to more than 24 to 25 states in India, and I have
Hmm.
tried to touch their all notorious or haunted locations. But
Hmm.
I think it should be more than 200.
Okay. And is there any location in India that you haven't been to that you want to?
There are many, but like I said, that it
Hmm.
requires a lot of permissions and
Hmm.
a lot of local licensing. But
Hmm.
India is not a
If you
very open-minded country for such investigations. So let's say if I go
hmm.
to Rajniwas guys and tell them that I've heard these stories and want to investigate your location, they will never give me a
Hmm.
permission
Hmm.
because it is an official government bungalow.
हाँ, हाँ. कौन सी एक ऐसी जगह है जहां पर आप दिल से जाना चाहते हैं, लाइक इट्स यू रियली वांट टू गो देयर?
The Vatican City.
ओके, व्हाई?
I think they have a lot of things that can make me learn a lot of things about human brain functioning, human belief functioning, the social impact, plus the history of paranormal, right from the modern paranormal stories, right from starting from the American Civil War and then World War. This is how it entirely changed the entire social psychology of looking at paranormal, which we are looking at it now in the modern science and modern era. So I
ओके,
think it can become one of the finest epicenters how things have been triggered.
ओके, ठीक है. एंड नाउ दैट यू आर लाइक come out with this book is over, are you coming up with, what are you busy with right now?
I'm making a movie.
Acha, okay.
Yeah.
It's like the process is started.
Yeah, we
If I
have
may ask.
finished. We have finished the writing, and now we'll
Hmm,
probably, if everything goes right, we'll get into
hmm,
pre-production or something like that.
hmm. You can talk about it or not?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. So that's your do you think that movies normally books पर जब movies बनती हैं, books के incidents पर या entire books पर तो change हो जाती हैं?
तो वो जरूरी भी है, होनी भी चाहिए.
हाँ,
बिकॉज
जरूरी है.
जरूरी है क्योंकि देखिए किताब
Hmm,
में एक राइटर फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने एक कहानी बताई और नील सर ने उसे लिखा. तो आई थिंक कि
hmm,
उन्होंने अपनी एक दुनिया बनाई, अपना एक इमेजिनेशन बनाया, और दूसरा क्या है ना कि पढ़ने वाले को भी वो चीज कैरी फॉरवर्ड होनी चाहिए.
hmm,
पढ़ने वाले को भी वो सेम इमोशन कैरी फॉरवर्ड होना चाहिए जो एक राइटर लिख रहा
hmm,
है. तो आई थिंक कि वो एक एंटायरली डिफरेंट चीज है. और जबकि एक फिल्म
hmm,
बनती है तो एक फिल्म जो है एक फिल्म मेकर का पर्सपेक्टिव होता है.
hmm,
उसे मैं किस तरह से उस दुनिया को देखता हूँ, मैं वो लोगों को बताता हूँ. मैं लोगों से ये नहीं कह
hmm,
रहा हूँ कि आप अपनी इमेजिनेशन का इस्तेमाल करो.
hmm,
सो बुक में क्या होता है कि लोग अपनी इमेजिनेशन का इस्तेमाल करने का उन्हें फ्रीडम होता है, विच इज द गुड थिंग अबाउट द बुक. बट
hmm,
फिल्म मेकिंग में ऐसा नहीं होता. फिल्म मेकिंग जो होती है वो
hmm,
हमेशा एक मेकर क्रिएटर की का एक पर्सपेक्टिव होता है टू हाउ द पर्सन इज लुकिंग एट दैट पर्टिकुलर वर्ल्ड. सो
hmm,
वो आप कितना भी कोशिश करो वो डिफरेंशिएशन आएगा ही आएगा. अगर एक फिल्म मेकर एग्जैक्टली जैसे बुक लिखी है वैसे बना दे तो वो बहुत कंफ्यूज्ड फिल्म बनेगी, बिकॉज उसमें ना तो ऑडियंस का और ना फिल्म मेकर का पर्सपेक्टिव क्लियर होगा.
Hmm.
सो
So
विच इज
you're
व्हाई
okay.
आई
Many
थिंक.
authors.
Sorry.
No, no. Tell me. What were you saying?
So, which is why I think that if a filmmaker is taking the rights of a book and trying to change small petty things just to make sure that the story is going to the right conditioning, because Neil is someone who writes both the things. He writes books and he writes great screenplay as well. So he understands the process really well. कि एक किताब को लिखने का नजरिया कुछ और होता है, एक स्क्रीन प्ले को लिखने का नजरिया कुछ और होता है. So I think there has to be a differentiation for sure.
Okay. Okay. And one last question. What advice would you give to a person who wants to enter this field, paranormal, who wants to be a paranormal investigator?
This is the question I have answered multiple times, and I will answer that once again. You have to first decide an ideology. The first thing that needs to be done before you get into any job, that especially paranormal investigation, that needs to be an ideology. What do you want to do
Mm,
after you take up this job?
mm,
So one is that. Two, once you decide the ideology, do not hurry. Research takes time. It takes years to
mm,
understand how things functioning. People are. It's not so easy that you go to Amazon, get some few gadgets, go to YouTube
mm,
and stop blogging. It's not like that. But
mm,
if you want to enter, definitely enter. There is risk involved. There is no money. There is a lot of struggles. उसके ऊपर से जो तुम्हारे घर वाले होंगे तुम्हें तांत्रिक बुलाएंगे. So all these kind of stuff will happen. But if you are ready to pay that price, you should come.
mm. So basic thing is that you have to have to have a strong interest, only then come.
More than interest, you have to have a strong mindset.
Mm, mm. Okay. And Neil, what would you advise an upcoming author, and especially an author, since you're writing screenplays also, and especially an author who's into horror fiction?
I think the most important thing is to be honest to the story,
Mm,
because
mm,
like if you are writing non-fiction, because we are talking about a non-fiction book, so I'll keep it to
mm,
that. So when you are writing non-fiction, it is very important to state the facts, and also to have a kind of I mean, not to be very strong and judgmental about it. मतलब आप जब
mm,
लिख रहे हो तो आई थिंक द राइटर्स वर्क इज टू स्टेट द फैक्ट्स एंड बी न्यूट्रल अबाउट द स्टोरी. सो आई डोंट
mm,
वांट टू कलर माय ऑडियंस व्हाइल दे आर रीडिंग इट कि ये ऐसा होगा या वैसा होगा, बिकॉज आई एम थिंकिंग लाइक दैट. So I want
mm,
them to take out their own interpretation, which is what we have done in this book also. We have described the
mm,
story, stayed honest and true to the facts as much as possible, and then it is up to the
mm,
reader, like what you want to, because this is not an academic kind of book. It is not school
mm,
syllabus where I will try to
mm,
like teach something. I'm not teaching. I'm
mm,
telling
mm,
something that happened in Jay's life, and this is what happened. These
mm,
are the facts. अब बाकी का जो निष्कर्ष निकालना है, that is up to them. So this is, I think,
mm,
what makes the book work, and
mm.
this is across all the non-fiction that I've written so far.
And what about fiction?
When it is fiction, I think again the most important thing is to for today's audience, today's readers, I would say that a horror author needs to be very visual. मतलब you have to write
Mm,
it. Even if you are writing a novel, it
mm,
don't go into lengthy descriptions, rather try to explain, try to bring the reader into the scene. तो ये हम कैसे कर सकते हैं? By making it a very sensory, like टेस्ट, स्मेल, टच, विजुअल्स, ये सब अपने राइटिंग में आने चाहिए. सो इफ यू आर जस्ट
mm,
वेरी मच कॉन्सेंट्रेटिंग ऑन मतलब मैं लैंग्वेज कैसे इंप्रूव करूं, सो दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. यस, लेकिन उसके साथ जो सेंसरी डिटेल्स आते हैं उसको भूलो मत. आजकल क्या
mm,
होता है कि बहुत सारे जो नॉवेलिस्ट लिखते हैं, दे मेक इट वेरी प्लॉट
mm,
ओरिएंटेड. तो प्लॉट ओरिएंटेड तो ठीक है, लेकिन एम्बियंस बिल्ड करना भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट. द एटमॉस्फियरिक
mm,
राइटिंग जो है, जो रस्किन बॉन्ड के
mm,
ज़माने से इट्स फेमस, like we have all
mm,
grown up on it. So that kind
mm,
of literature, if you want to write, then the first and most important thing is you need to make how the scene come alive. That is an art
mm,
you need to learn.
mm. And for you personally, which one? is comes easier to you? Uh, Fiction or non-fiction or screenplay writing?
Fiction, writing fiction novels. I'll tell you why. Because non-fiction takes a
Mm,
lot of research, and it is very important to interview a lot of people to understand their mentality, their approach, and then write it neutrally. Fiction में क्या होता है कि you have a liberty to put yourself in the book. You can do that.
mm,
A screenplay is a very tough job because screenplay is not something that you do alone and independently. When you
mm,
write for a series, like when I wrote for my series also, there were like so many people whom you have to take together, and बहुत सारे
mm,
approvals लगते हैं, and it's a tough job. Screenplay अकेले घर पे लिखना अलग बात है, but when you are in a writing room, it becomes laborious.
mm.
So I enjoy writing
Yeah,
fiction novels, and I think uh,
yeah.
जब अगर आप मुझे बोलो कि you define yourself, तो I will define myself as a fiction novelist more than a non-fiction writer or a screenwriter.
Okay. Okay. So thank you so much. And with that, we come to an end of this conversation.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much, Jay, for coming on board. Thank you,
Thank
Neil.
you. Thank you.
And for because I picked up the book, I started reading it, and I read one story, that the story of a lady who's again it's a some psychological issue. Her
Yeah.
early life had some that story, and I was a bit. Uh, should I say disappointed because I was expecting paranormal there.
Yeah. I'm
I
sure.
wanted so so it was something so but then it also made me talk to you because that drew me. Then I thought ki not all paranormal that seems paranormal is paranormal. There are
Right.
so many things which are explained. So thank you so much for clearing all that up, and thank you so much for telling the people that most of the times it is the psychology maybe, and there are logical explanations for paranormal. So you don't have to like be scared with there are things in the mind. You have to clear the mind.
Right.
Thank you so much for
Right.
that.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much for
much for
your
that.
time.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best for your upcoming movie and upcoming
Thank you.
all the
Thank you.
projects that you have.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, guys. Guys. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
All
sir.
right.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye, Jay. Bye, Rajkumari. Thanks.
Bye bye.